Hi, and welcome to the Access Direct Opening Bell, your essential pre-market podcast. In just minutes, get key global updates, overnight trends, and market-moving factors that set the tone for the day. Whether you're a seasoned trader or just someone tracking the markets, this is your go-to briefing to stay ahead at all times. So let's dive straight in. On a Wednesday, and we will start with US stocks, which rose for a second straight day, powered by tech stocks. The S&P 500 rose 0.6%, while the Nasdaq 100 climbed 0.8%. Small caps outperformed with the Russell 2000 rallying 1.6%. The rally came as US job openings in April rose more than expected and also beat the prior month's number, in a sign that the American economy is chugging along well, even though durable goods orders and factory orders came in soft. Meanwhile, the OECD said that global economic growth will slow to 2.9% this year from 3.3% in 2024, with US growth expected to drop to 1.6% from 2.8%, an outlook significantly lower than its projection from March. Elsewhere, the VIX dropped for the fourth day. The dollar and the 10-year Treasury yield rose slightly. Gold fell as jobs data meant reduced demand for safe havens, and oil gained for a second day on geopolitical tensions continuing to make headlines. At home, the rupee ended lower at 85.59 on continued risk aversion. RBI policy this Friday, where the central bank is expected to cut its main lending rate by 25 basis points to 5.75%, has most likely kept the currency in a tight range, with strategists saying that the RBI strategy of buffering up its foreign exchange reserves will keep any rupee gains in check. Coming to stocks, the Nifty finished a rather volatile session, 174 points down at 24,542. In a surprise, the India VIX dropped 3.5%, ending the day at 16.6. The NSE 500 small cap and mid cap indices, which have largely outperformed the Nifty more recently, did so yet again. Brent was negative as over 60% of the NSE 500 stocks fell. 10 of the 12 main NSE sectors ended down, with private banks and energy dropping 1.2% and 1.1% respectively. Realty was the best performer on the day as it gained 1.2%. The best and worst performers on the Nifty were Grasim, which rose 1.1%, and Adani Ports, that fell 2.4%. Technically speaking, time is running out for the bulls in their defense of 24,462. If that breaks, a bearish head and shoulder stop with a rising neckline will be confirmed, targeting a downside objective of around 23,800. Bears looking at this target will then have to defend 25,079 on the upside. More immediate resistance for now sits between 24,760 and 24,882. The time window running from 10th June to 13th June could trigger a tactical trend reversal. Meanwhile, provisional data showed that foreigners withdrew over 2,800 crores yesterday. It's still early days in the month, but the total outflow now stands at 5,400 crores. On to derivatives, and the Nifty's put call ratio went from 0.82 to 0.65, while the bank Nifty's went from 1.04 to 0.87. Nifty calls added were significantly more than the put addition that was seen, and at the money implied volatility rose almost 100 basis points at the close, which meant that on a net basis, market participants went home hopeful of a bounce. Options concentration for tomorrow's expiry shows a trackable range of 24,000 to 25,000 for today, with the highest addition of the 24,600 call and the biggest liquidation at the 24,100 put. Note that we have ignored distant strikes that are far out of the money. Volatility analysis shows that the demand for 1% out of the money puts fell sharply compared to similar distance calls, which meant that vol traders were also expecting a rebound of sorts. Speaking net index options activity, foreigners and proprietary traders were bearish, while retail investors were bullish. Elsewhere, foreigners' net short positioning in index futures rose to nearly 103,000 contracts from 89 contracts on the previous day. And that's been a recent trend where we're seeing a continuing build-up in bearish bets from foreign participants. Looking forward to today's session, the GIFT Nifty was up 55 points at 7 a.m. Asian markets were a sea of green led by Korea. US index futures were up slightly. Coming to stocks, Colgate-Palmolive, Eris Life Sciences and Caplin Point were at horizontal support, while Central Bank, Hindustan Copper and Sri Renuka Sugars were at horizontal resistance. Adani Power and Bata India were at trendline support, while Bank of Baroda, Gland Pharma and Glenmark were at trendline resistance. Talking breadth, 79%, 78%, and 50% of stocks in the NSE 500 were above their 50, 100, and 200-day averages. HSBC PMI numbers are due from India, while S&P PMIs and ADP employment change will release from the US later today. So that's a wrap in the day's podcast. Please note that this podcast serves solely for informational purposes and should not be considered financial advice of any kind. For a comprehensive disclaimer, please visit our website. Thank you, and we will see you tomorrow at the same hour. Good day and take care.
Investments in securities market are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.